Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the MLB DFS Core Pick video for today, Wednesday, August 21st. If you're joining me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We'll be going over my core picks, which is going to be one pitcher, four hitters. It's going to be based on a combination of past performance versus their respective opponent, as well as some recent history. And then after that, we can move over to my cheat sheet, which is 100% free. It can be found on Facebook, it can be found on Twitter, and it can be found in the YouTube community tab. So feel free to use it as you're building out your lineups for tonight's slate. And then from the cheat sheet, we'll be talking about my top GPP teams to stack for tonight's slate overall. But without further ado, we'll get moved right into the core picks and start off at the pitcher position with Jack Flaherty. Is $10,900. Having a really strong season. He's averaging almost 39 fantasy points per game on the season. Goes against Seattle Mariners tonight. He has some pretty good history versus them in the past. A little bit limited there at that as well. He had 46 points versus them in 2023. Has not pitched against them in 2024. And if we look at what he's done so far on the season, 9 wins in total. ERA just over 3 at 3.06. So some pretty solid numbers for him overall. Do like the upside that he could have once again tonight. And then we'll move down to our hitters. We're going to start off at second base with Gleyber Torres. He was the last person in my core picks. I was just looking for somebody kind of cheap that I did like on tonight's slate. $2,700, average about 8 fantasy points per game. Goes against the Cleveland Guardians, and it is Cantillo on the mound for them. He is a rookie pitcher that hasn't made too many starts. He's a left-handed pitcher. Gleyber Torres, typically it's lefties, pretty good. Gleyber Torres has been a little bit more hit or miss as of late, if we'll see here. But before that time stretch, he was on a pretty good hit streak. So if he can kind of get back to that once again, going to look pretty good tonight overall. If we look at what he's done so far on the season, 237 average, 10 home runs, 45 RBIs. Once again, averaging just over 8 fantasy points per game. Then we're going to move down to third base with Paul DeJong. You could also play him at shortstop. He's $2,800, averaging just under 8 fantasy points per game going against the Los Angeles Angels. It is expected that Johnny Cueto will be the starting pitcher for them tonight. And Paul DeJong is 2 for 7 with 1 home run versus Johnny Cueto in his career. And if we look at what Paul DeJong's done as of late, he has at least 1 hit in 4 out of his last 5 games. 2 multi-hit games during that time span, 2 home runs, 2 double-digit performances, and then he also has 3 games of at least 9 fantasy points or higher during that stretch as well. So pretty decent floor there, some decent history with Johnny Cueto in the past, who is making his first start of the season at the major league level. And if we look at what Paul DeJong's done on the season so far, 235 average, 21 home runs, 49 RBIs, once again averaging just under 8 fantasy points per game at $2,800. Then at shortstop, we're going to go right back to Trey Turner, $3,800. Another good matchup versus the Atlanta Braves tonight. He is 13 for 35 with 3 home runs in his career versus Max Fried. So some really good history there at that. And if we look at what Trey Turner's done in his recent games, 4 out of his last 5 games, he has at least 1 hit. And then he has 3 multi-hit games during that time span, 1 home run, 4 double-digit performances. So pretty much everything we said yesterday, minus the Yofer game that we did get out of him, unfortunately. But he's at a 308 average, 14 home runs, 43 RBIs, averaging just over 12 fantasy points per game at $3,800. Looks like a really solid play once again tonight. And then last but not least, we're going to go down the outfield with EU value play and Hunter Renfroe as well. $2,600, averaging just over 7.5 fantasy points per game, goes against the Los Angeles Angels. Johnny Cueto, once again, is the expected starting pitcher for them. And Hunter Renfroe, 2 for 6 with 1 home run versus Johnny Cueto in his career. And if we look at what Hunter Renfroe has done as of late, he's on a modest 3-game hit streak, 2 multi-hit games during that time span. No home runs, though. Only 1 double-digit performance, but 2 games of at least 9 fantasy points or higher. And on the season, Hunter Renfroe, 233 average, 11 home runs, 45 RBIs, averaging just over 7.5 fantasy points, once again at $2,600. So it looks like a pretty solid value play on tonight's slate overall. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do currently have listed here, you have $12,200 remaining. Just over $3,000 per player, so looking a little bit more like a balance build type of day. Obviously, if you want to pay down from Jack Flaherty to a different pitcher, pay up at some other positions, you can definitely do that. Or, if you kind of want to mix and match here and there, kind of pay down at some spots, pay up at some other spots, you can probably do that at the same time as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for tonight's slate overall. So once again, the cheat sheet is 100% free. It can be found on Facebook, it can be found on the YouTube community tab, and it can be found on Twitter. So definitely feel free to use it as you're building out your lineups for tonight's slate. But the 3 teams that I do have to stack for tonight's slate, we got the Kansas City Royals going against Johnny Cueto of the Los Angeles Angels as their expected starting pitcher. And these Royals hitters have done very well versus him in the past. I would assume most of that was with his time with the White Sox. Then we move over to the Yankees going against Cantillo. I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but it's like his 4th major league start. Left-handed pitcher. Yankees typically at left-handed pitching pretty well, so it should be a pretty favorable matchup there, although they do not have any history versus him in the past. And then we have the Philadelphia Phillies going against Max Fried. Max Fried's a pretty good pitcher, but he's really struggled against these Phillies hitters in the past, so would not be surprised if that is the case once again tonight. But with that being said, that's what I do have in terms of my core picks as well as top GPP stacks for today, Wednesday, August 21st. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comments and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And then with that being said, I'll be listing all the updates down in the comment section of this video, whether that's weather related, starting pitcher related, and then I will also be posting all the lineups as they do get announced throughout the afternoon and early evening down there as well. So definitely be sure to check it out as we do get closer to lock. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. It helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have MLB DFS in terms of the core pick videos Monday through Friday, and then I do have my CFL DFS video coming out once a week, typically on Wednesdays, so definitely feel free to check that out as well if that's something you're into or looking to get into for the very first time. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for Prize Picks, Parlay Play, and BetUS. If you're a brand new user on any one of those three sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's 100% match up to $100. And then for BetUS, it's 125% match on your first three deposits up to $2,500 in aggregate. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other questions about that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in MLB DFS tonight.